And we are. Oh,
We're hot. We're hot.
we're not quite. I mean, we are, but
Yeah, we are.
oh, 6, yes, 3. Okay, cool,
Woo!
sweet. We are live on the function call, and we've got someone on the show with us already. Look at that. That's cool.
That's me. I'm here.
Where's this person? Is that you?
I don't know. You,
No, we got someone on YouTube.
I'm right here.
You're right here. That's all that matters.
I am right here, and that's all that matters.
Cool. The person left.
Later. Like, what
That's
the
always
fuck
funny.
is this?
Yeah. All right. Let's get started. Hey,
Are we gonna
Grant.
clap? Oh,
We're not doing the clap anymore.
I think we should just always clap out of tradition.
I mean, we can clap.
All right.
Yeah, there's a clap just for you.
We do like the happy birthday song. Happy birthday.
That was so funny. Kato was laughing so much when we would do that. I don't even know, but I just know that she was.
Oh man.
Like ping me and be like, "You guys are ridiculous." Hey Grant.
Hello, Austin. How are you?
Good. I'm ready to do another episode of the function call.
Ready to take on the day?
Yeah.
I guess the evening, really.
Can I show you something? And you, audience member that's listening on the podcast, I'm going to show you as well, technically. Sort of. Well, not show, but
I will describe it for the podcastees.
Are you ready for this? Yeah.
Oh, you got oh, dude, you got a
Yes.
Oh, you're not ready. You're not ready. Oh man.
Yes, you hear that silky smoothness of my voice right up in your ear hole.
Oh yeah. Somebody did the right thing and got an actual boom arm. And the pop filter's a bit close on that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, this pop filter, it's a $10 microphone arm, and the free pop filter that came with it is
there's just some, general setup tips. I'm gonna hook you up with that.
It's pretty jank, I gotta say.
Well, I mean, it's all it's there to do is to keep you from spitting on your microphone.
Oh, is that what it's for?
It's to minimize plosives.
To minimize what?
Plosives. So if I talk into my microphone like this, you hear a lot of.
It sounds like
plosives.
Pop.
Yeah.
Stop saying that word.
It's the word that you use.
It's kind of a word. Kind of a gross word. It's kind of a gross word.
You like the word plosives, don't you lie?
I don't. That's why I have a pop filter, so I don't have to hear that crap.
So no more plosives for you.
No. Why is this thing just not? Anyway, we're off to a good start with the podcast, talking about things that people need to look at.
Yeah, dude, you can turn your gain down, get up and intimate with that microphone, get that snowball in your mouth.
Stop.
I want the microphone in your mouth.
Stop.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so with it this close, then, since I've adjusted the microphone positioning from the start, how's my audio? Am I coming in?
Still sounds pretty. We can work on it when we're not like live. How about that?
Should I turn the gain down?
Yes. Turn the gain down. Get it closer to your face. Turn the gain down. Get it
closer
to your face.
To my face.
Closer to your face.
I'm pretty comfortable here, I think.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Because this literally is touching my chin. This is how you make good. This is how you make good sound.
Okay, but then if I put it closer, I'm gonna have the pop filter like in my.
It needs to be. There's a reason I said. I want the in your mouth.
All right. This is it. That's it. That's what you're getting.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, and just touch the gain down just a little, just a skosh, just a little.
There you go. All right. That's what we got.
Fantastic.
All right, podcast people. I hope this is as much a treat for you as it is for me. y'all can't even see. I got the cable management, like it's all tied to the arm. So like, I know cable management is a thing that people talk about.
You
So
spent a good hour on that. Something nobody's gonna
oh
see.
yeah, that's good. I see it. That's all that matters.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's get on
Good.
to other stuff, right?
Stuff that matters.
I mean, we don't talk about anything that matters on this show, but stuff that
That's
matters to
true.
me, stuff that matters
It's really
to
good.
you.
Like, let's maintain some perspective here, right? People get all worked up. Like, what do we really do here? Huh? What do we really do?
In fact, just to keep consistent, we really shouldn't talk about anything that matters for this episode.
Yeah, let me delete some things from the notes.
Oh man. Well, yeah, let's get into it. How are you doing in the grand scheme? In your work week? How's your work week going?
Oh, dude, it's a wild time at work. It's wild times,
Or your
mystery
life
times,
week? Oh yeah,
or my life.
Your life week? Yeah, how's your life week doing?
Oh, dude, it's good. I've made some decisions in my cycling life that I think are going to be really good for me. I'm going to sell my road bike. I picked up a gravel bike. Yeah, man. Like, I'm not riding with cars. I'm not doing that anymore. It's too dangerous.
Right. Yeah. Did you have like a close encounter or something? Or
no, but like, so the cycling subreddit is just full of like, rest in peace, our hero who rode for 25 years or what. Like, it's these sad stories of these people who like are hardcore road cyclists that just get run over, and the screwed up thing is like it's not their fault. It's sometimes not even the car's fault. It's just you get to an intersection that's managed poorly, and I have a couple of those near me. Yeah, you can get T-boned. You can have somebody like merge into you. Like, there's so much stuff where like I just don't want to live that life, man. I'm not about that life. So I'm all about that dirt life. I'm all about like, single track, like gravel bike, but also like real mountain bike, like enduro stuff. So
yeah.
it's
so you got two
it's a good
bikes,
feeling.
One mountain bike, one gravel bike.
Well, we don't need to get into the number of bikes. That's not important, right? The number of bikes is not important. What's important is that none of them are
safe.
Yeah, none of them are limited to just being on the road now. And they're all like, yes, let's go get dirty. It's rad.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of want to, like, I've been going up into the mountains and just thinking, man, it'd be so cool to have a mountain bike and ride around some of these trails and go a little crazy. I don't have anyone to ride with. You got to move up here.
So here's the crazy thing, right? So like my buddy that I started riding bikes with, he doesn't really like riding a mountain bike. And so like I just had to go out on my own a whole lot. You know what happens when you do that? You meet trail buddies.
Trail buds.
Now I have like 3 or 4 different people that I ride with, and then like I go and do group rides once a month. Like, dude, just go out. People who are riding mountain bikes out on trails are chill.
They're lonely.
People. They're chill people, and they want to hang out with you. And like just on Tuesday, I was up on top of the mountain that I live underneath, and I met this dude from Chile. He only spoke Spanish, so it was a really hard time communicating because I don't like poco, but real bad Espanol, right?
Yeah.
So like and his English was far better than my Spanish, but then
okay. So you guys had to fall back to like body language.
Dude, really? Like it was bad. And he was standing on top of this rock roll that's like just massive and terrifying. And he's like, it's not that bad. Because like he's from Chile. And I don't know if you've seen mountains in Chile. That place is bonkers.
They're just vertical.
So like we went on a couple of different runs, and he was like, all right, man, like it was good riding. I'll see you. And like,
so are you picking up digits or what? Is this
you make like friends? Buddies? It's good. It's good. No, like I'll see him on the mountain again. Like,
no riding dates.
No. I mean, if I admitted that publicly, like I feel like the onslaught of demands would just be endless.
Whoa! All right, cool. Well, I'm glad that we're
My point is, Austin, you're really good at making friends, and I think you'd be a popular dude on the mountain.
Why are you laughing at that? Why is that so funny?
It's hilarious to me. I don't know. I think you're a friendly dude, and I think you would find riding buddies pretty easily. So, like, don't let that stress you out. If you want to be out there on a mountain bike, get a mountain bike. Go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I need the peer pressure though, and that's the problem is I don't have a bike. So I don't get out there first, like I need someone to be here that's peer pressuring me, like you or my brother, because you both ride. Anyway,
What?
let's.
Is your brother not local?
No,
Okay.
not to here. Let's talk about some web stuff. Yeah, some programming. We've covered the friendship part of the show.
We haven't heard about how you're doing though, other than that you want to ride a mountain bike.
That was a test. You passed. I'm doing well. Nugget is good. He's been kind of a butthole lately, though.
Nugget's a butthole.
Yeah, dude, he's a jerk sometimes. I'm so good to him, and like he'll just like randomly just like growl at me. I'm like, dude, Nugget, I just want to be friends. I just
want to be your friend, Nugget.
Yeah, we got some new neighbors. That was a little bit exciting. But yeah, no, things are good. Nothing too new for me.
We're both going through the new neighbor drama, huh?
Yeah. No, but I want to talk about. I want to get into this cool project in the Vue ecosystem. Well, I guess it's not Vue ecosystem anymore. But have you heard of Vite? Project.
You just made a noise. I don't know. Does this like translate to a word?
Yeah. Vite. It's actually a French word.
Oh, Vite.
Yeah. I don't know how it's pronounced. Pretty sure it's Vite, but not going to die on that hill.
Okay, I mean,
anyway.
Vite, Vite, like
Vite. So anyway, this project kind of spawned from the creator of Vue, Evan Yu.
Maybe it's a silent V. Maybe it's just Ite.
Eat.
Sorry,
and so it's kind of getting big in the front end development or like JavaScript ecosystem. So it came out of Vue, but it supports React now. And the thing that's really cool about it is it uses, what is it? It's kind of a combination of modern JavaScript and I don't even want to say like older legacy JavaScript, but like it's kind of a new sort of family of build tools or development tools. So you familiar with ES modules?
Yes.
Like import, export, whatever, right? So ES modules work in the browser natively in modern evergreen browsers. There's a lot of cool things about ES modules. There's some downsides to ES modules around like how waterfall works or circular dependencies or things like that. Like if dependency A requires dependency B, requires dependency C, or something like that. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of the details, but the idea behind Vite is it's a development tool that lets you use ES modules in dev mode so that instead of having to essentially run a compilation process on whenever you make a change, it just serves each file as an ES module in the browser, which means it has like milliseconds of like startup time or reload time. Like you can hit save and then go check the browser and you don't even realize like it's updated before you've even realized, right? And then when you want to actually build your project, it falls back to like Webpack or Rollup, or I think Rollup, to actually bundle it into something that is probably more production ready, let's say. You with me so far?
Yeah. So this is purely so like the fallback is still a bundler.
Yep. But in development mode, it's like wicked fast. I don't know if you've ever worked on a project so big that starting the dev server takes like 30 seconds.
So you're talking about a fast project then?
I'm talking about fast development. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was making a joke that 30 seconds is not nearly enough for my dev server to start.
Oh, oh, yeah. Well, so you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So
It's mostly like a TSC issue for me, but
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So it's like it's pretty instantaneous, right? And I probably didn't do it justice to describe it entirely, but the reason I'm rushing through that is because that's not actually the point of focus. The thing that I
Okay.
want to focus on is this other project that uses Vite called Vtedge. And this is something that I think I just learned about today. It sounds super cool, and it's going to be hard to describe, but essentially, it's a tool that can be deployed to a static edge server, so like a
Mm.
CDN. Like first one that comes to mind is Cloudflare Workers, uh, but it can run as a server on that edge location, and then it can cache requests as they come in. So rather than, it's sort of like think of like a static site generation that is generated on demand and then cached.
You're
You with me?
describing Next, sir.
Kind of, yeah. This
Yeah.
is general. This is general purpose. Next is React, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting.
And
So, so that
but
work.
but hold
Oh,
on.
sorry. Okay.
Next is also the next caching or like on demand caching is only for Vercel,
Yeah.
right? This is
It's big time vendor tie-in. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. This is not.
yeah. It's
So,
interesting because I mean this is my gripe about a lot of meta frameworks, and this really resolves it pretty well. Is that you get this vendor tie-in, you get it with Gatsby, you get it with Next, and it's like it makes that decision painful. Um, and this seems very very interesting. So I think you're right. I think it's Vite. And I've been reading the docs while you tell me about it. It does support TypeScript, which was like my number one concern.
you
Um,
talking Vite or Vtedge?
Vite,
Okay.
Vtedge, I don't know. I
So
assume it would
Vtedge,
support anything.
yeah, anything that needs to.
Vitegeables.
So Vtedge,
Nothing for
Vtedge
my vegetable
side.
joke. Okay, fine.
Oh, no, I didn't get it. My bad.
Vitegeables.
You're
That's the
Mister.
first thing I thought of
You're
when I
Mister
read
Puns.
Vtedge. I'm like, you're missing the ables.
I don't eat vegetables, so.
I know you're
So
full
they're
of
like trying to coin this phrase called edge side rendering. Actually, I don't know if they're claiming it first, but it's the first place I've seen it.
Yeah,
So
edge
it's a,
rendering
a
seems, yeah,
edge
they're
side
probably the first to
rendering
do it.
framework for Vue and React. What's ESR, edge side rendering? Think of SSR, server side rendering, in CDN nodes instead of actual servers. This is possible today thanks to Cloudflare Workers, blah, blah, blah. Some of the features are ultra-fast development and hot module reloading powered by Vite and ES modules, renders and caches at the edge for maximum performance in production, cache is configurable. Each page gets its server data as props by default, but can be set in a store instead. HTTP2 server push for your assets to speed up the loading time without waterfall requests. Automatically creates endpoints for your API based on file system routes. So I don't know, worth a look. You should check it out later after the show.
So,
One thing that so hold on. One thing that it looks like they're going to be adding soon, or it's on the roadmap, is auth based on cookies, which sounds like you would then be able to deploy a site on the server and respond to like logged in requests differently than, I don't know. It sounds super cool.
okay.
All right, now I'll stop interrupting you.
I can talk about it now.
You can
So,
talk now.
so Vitegeable. has a PR in place to better support TypeScript, which seems good.
Yeah, it looks like on the roadmap they want to support Svelte as well.
Oh, dude, yeah, they're specifying a TypeScript version. This 405. Okay. Um, yeah, this seems problematic that it's like their configuration. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. Cool. Conceptually, like super neat. So we were talking a little bit earlier about where these things really belong, right? Like what's the right use case for an edge worker service, or for a cloud function, or for a like a node server that's like just a hot running server, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that discussion needs to be had. Like is this really where build should happen? Because like Next has basically asserted that, you know, using webhooks, we, you know, build page by page. Like when your content changes, we rebuild your pages and send those to cache. Whereas like this lives at the edge. I wonder what the advantage is.
Yeah, it gets to just to break that down. We basically are at a point right now where we have on one end of the spectrum, we have like static site generation, and just like let's say, yeah, just a static site that can be deployed to a CDN or whatever. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have servers that have some sort of scripting language running. Let's say Node in our case, or PHP, takes a request, builds a request or builds a HTML page per request and returns that to a user. And in between there, now we have these sort of edge layer services that can run functions on each request. We have cloud functions like or serverless functions that can be like requested from the front end via Ajax or something like that,
Or even a webhook.
or a webhook. Yeah,
Yeah, you can ping them any way you want.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like if a user like I don't know. I mean that's basically it. That's how I break it down. There's kind of four places that let's call it a website can kind of exist, right?
So the client.
There's like the static, like the static assets.
So like all the way over here is on the client, and then we've got like CDN layer stuff, whether that's a function or just like the static files being served by CDN. Then we've got the actual server, or you're putting like cloud functions in between, right?
I think there's something in between, because you have like there is a difference between like Lambda functions and edge functions. Right. So you have your static assets. Let's say at a CDN, right? You have a CDN that has just like static HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and that serves up like if a user goes to the page, gets those assets, that's it. And then you have edge workers that sit somewhere in between the initial request for those assets and the assets being returned. So you can run functions on your static assets, or like functions in between that request.
Right.
To get those static assets. And then once those assets are sent to the client and you have your page loaded, then you can make requests to a Lambda function that maybe just like runs, like spins up, does the work, and then tears down after the request is complete. And then you have servers that either can, return HTML pages, or are just like constantly running, waiting for things. So, I mean, these are definitely where databases are going to live, whether you're using a third-party service or not. It's just like constantly has to be up, right?
Okay.
So yeah, there's kind of like there's a lot
of places.
There's a lot of places where functions can run. And all of this functionality, you know what, when we were talking about the static assets, let's actually change that and think about that at build time, right? There's build time, then like if I need to run a function, I can either run that on my machine at build time, build the assets, and then deploy it. I can deploy it to a CDN and it runs in between requests, well, like assets being requested. I can run it from the client side via Lambda function, or I can have it as a long running process on a server somewhere, um, you know, on the server. So
Yeah, like I think
it's
we
really
should
interesting.
probably,
It's
yeah,
complicated.
I think we should probably have a show discussing, and we probably need to get somebody who knows more about this than that. Well, then at least I do. I don't know enough about this to make decisions on like where is it appropriate to use these, what concerns should you have about security in X, Y, or Z location. Like these are interesting, relatively new developments that I think will have a massive impact on how you architect web applications or websites in the future. Like this doesn't
Yeah,
seem
I think
insignificant because you can offload tons and tons of work that used to have to be done in the client or on the server to places where it's much more accessible. Really interesting.
yeah, it's really cool and exciting because of the like what you can do. I think that all of these different elements have their pros and cons. Being able to like build a static site and deploy it to a CDN means it's going to be super fast. But I also have limitations of like if a user's logged in, or there's no concept of logged in or logged out, unless at least from the first render of the page, right?
Yeah, the
And
initial load is
then
unaware.
yeah, and then like the edge worker stuff, they're like really cool because you can intercept requests or like kind of build out responses on the fly.
Yeah.
Um, like I've seen some crazy stories about like migration stories that basically if a website's being migrated, they'll put up a worker that intercepts every request, goes to see if the new version of the website has that route, and if not, it falls back. Like it basically makes another request, gets the old version of the website, and serves that in place.
Oh, so it's like kind of smart, like hot
Yeah, it's like
swapping
smart. Yeah, exactly.
as as a new deploy is built live. That's interesting. Like
Well,
route
that's on
based.
demand, not as it's built. So with the deployed website, someone goes to the deployed website, the edge worker goes and says, "Oh, does this resource actually exist on the new version of the website?" And if it doesn't get anything back, then it's like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll go to the old version of the website. That's probably what they want. I'll get the content, the HTML or whatever, and I'll just like give that back to the user," which is
Interesting.
wild. Yeah. Right. So there's a lot of cool things there, but then that also has its limitations. When I first looked into Cloudflare Workers, it was kind of weird if you wanted to run like an application on it that does like database requests.
Hmm.
I think technically some of the credentials to access the data could have been read from another worker running on the same node.
Okay.
It still seemed a little bit like sketchy as far as like privacy. So if you're doing something that is kind of like a stateless function, perfectly safe, perfectly good. If you need stateful, then you might
Yeah,
go
this
for
this has
something.
always been the concern around this has always been the concern around like cloud functions or edge functions or whatever have you is that they're like stateless, right? And if you want to maintain state, like that's a job for the server. I disagree with that. I think like I have worked state into functions. Yes, it requires you to like there's some added latency because they're dealing with either a cache or some other like data persistence layer because they're cold start. Like they don't maintain their own internal memory because you know
Well, they also don't have a file
I,
system that you can depend on, right? If you want to make a stateful request in a Lambda function, you have to store that state somewhere else, like on a database, and then read from the database, right?
yeah. So it I guess it's an interesting space that I'm very curious to see how it pans out. Like all of the vendors, right? Like the Vercells and the Netlifys and the Herokus of the world are like, and AWS and what have you. They're they're all leaning very heavily into like serverless, whatever we want to call that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so like I'm just curious to see what like when all of this pans out, like you give it 5 years, when all of this pans out, what is actually going to be left for a server to do other than be a persistence layer, right?
Well, that's it, right? I
Cron
mean,
job.
okay.
It's going to have to
I
do
have a
cron
good I
job.
have a good example actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I have a good example. Machine learning. So we have
This is a made up
systems.
thing. Machine learning's not
No, no,
real.
no.
It's like birds.
Okay. Okay. Well, just entertain me for a
Okay, I'm
moment.
sorry.
You that we live in a world in a universe where machine learning is a thing, right? So there's processes that are going to take longer than the timeout limit for a Lambda function to run. So machine learning might be a thing, right? So one thing that we've been able to do is we can have a Lambda function that's an endpoint that actually starts like a server, provisions a new like full-time server that would run continually, and then tells it kind of what it needs to do to handle this request. Passes the request off to this full-time server that is using maybe like a Docker image that's prepared with some machine learning model, runs the model on the input or the body of the request or whatever, an image somewhere, right? And then processes it, gets all the information out of it. This process has now taken, let's say, a couple of hours. And then at the end of it, it needs to spin down and like turn itself off. So there's a place where there's a place in that world where you need kind of the Lambda function to start the server and tear the server down, but you need the full server to like run the actual bulk of the work for an extended period of time.
That's interesting. I mean, so like, all right,
It's wild. It's weird.
I'll give you that. All right, we'll just skip over the fact that machine learning is just made up, right?
Okay.
But even in those cases, right? So these like extended run times, these seem like arbitrary limitations for cloud functions, right? Where if that wasn't there,
yeah, you could run it right.
yeah.
And so theoretically, given enough time, these providers might extend. I mean, they do improve the processing power and reduce or extend the runtime for these serverless functions. But yeah, I'd say like serverless functions have those kind of two main. Oh shit! I just broke my pen. Serverless functions.
Dude, you're like real intense with that pen, man. Like,
man, I get into these conversations and no, man, that's sad. Like, look, I broke the little clippy thing off of it.
it's always the first to go.
Yeah, but because that's the most fun to play with. So these serverless functions, right? They have these two limitations. One is the amount of time they can run, and the other is the amount of resources they can take up. Like some of the memory that you can allocate to a serverless function is like really limited compared to like one of the super beefy servers. So for machine learning, that's a very resource intensive process. It makes sense to have a super beefy server, and you kind of like spin that up for a short amount of time, and then you can take it down so you're not paying for it 24/7. So it's weird. I don't know. All of these new infrastructure options that we have available. This is all to say that it's very exciting times, but knowing what to use when is going to get it's going to be its own sort of field of specialty.
It fully is. It totally is. And so like this is something that Kyle Simpson in a few of his talks has like referenced the middle end where like you're not a back end engineer, you're not really a front end engineer. So like these are people who work on build tooling all the way through, I think, some of the stuff that we're talking about, where it's not like they're writing a server, they're writing these serverless functions that behave like specific actions in a server. Like I think the middle end has just grown so much. And that's really exciting to me because that's what I like. Like I like that
Yeah.
stuff. I like writing, stupid Redux stuff. I like writing Redux middleware. I think a really well designed like store is a thing to behold. Like that's stuff a lot of people hate, but I think it's
My,
fun.
my middle end has definitely been growing.
Whoa. Whoa.
My belly, dude. Come on. Come on. Don't be a creep.
Yeah, hey, I
Don't
didn't.
take it there.
Hey, you know what? You know who you're talking to.
Yeah,
Oh.
I can never get an innocent comment by you, can I?
Speaking of
Always
things
gotta
that are not innocent, I was on Reddit the other
tell
day.
me. Hmm.
Yeah,
Here we
and
go.
somebody was talking about. So there's two pieces to this. The first piece is the question that was being asked was like, which is easier to learn, Vue or React? And like my usual question to this is, do you want to make money? Um, and the answer is usually
If you
yes. Like
want to
these,
make money, then React is
yeah, like
easier to
these,
learn.
like these,
It's easier to
these
learn when money is the motivator.
for sure. Like I think that that's really an important thing. And also like look at your local market, right? Like what's in demand in your local market is usually going to be React. Like if you're in San Diego for
Dude,
some reason,
avocados for me, man.
uh, this is way over my head. I think I missed a joke.
No, my local market. Avocados. Come on. It's not very
Hi,
far.
hi,
It's
Dad.
not a
I'm
stretch.
dead. So anyway, yeah, I just would encourage anybody who's asking these questions, like look at what's in demand locally close to you and learn that,
Yeah,
right?
farm to table.
Now, had I taken that advice myself, I would be an Angular developer, and that seems sad. But no, React is a very good bet in most cases.
Yeah, everyone
But
likes to bash on
how is the
Angular.
market with Vue? Like, it seems like it's been
Oh,
persistently getting like growing. It seems to be good.
yeah. I mean, I think Vue. I think Vue's been a very popular framework in the developer world for a long time, and anytime you have that, uh, that's going to lead into more jobs. It's kind of like a what is it like a tailing? I forget what it's called, but it tails it. Like probably React jobs weren't big when React first came out, and React gained in popularity, and eventually it started breaking uh, into businesses and companies were using it, and then that's when the jobs start to come. Same with Vue. I think it's good. I
It's
really
good.
enjoy Vue, so yeah, I got no complaints. I get paid to work on Vue, so I'm happy.
That's cool. That's cool. I think what's really interesting about this is there was always three in the running, right? It was always
Hmm.
Angular, React, and Vue.
Hmm.
I don't see Angular in these comparisons as often. And I mean, it could just be the circles I run in, but I don't see
I
it.
think so. I think that's it. I think a lot of people like to bash Angular, but I think it's probably doing just fine. And Angular
Yeah.
developers, they're cool people. They're just rolling with it.
Yeah, I have no issue with that. Like, Angular is, a complete solution. But so this leads me to my,
We gotta get AJ back on the show, man. He'll
I
t- he'll
don't know.
set you straight.
Yeah, he's got to come in and be like,
He's gonna be
yo,
like Grant.
I manage all these Angular developers.
Yeah.
So the question that this leads to, right, is Vue a library or a framework? And so like I think the clearest distinction here is that a framework example is Angular. Angular has every piece of tooling that you need. It's
Yes.
it's just like this is how you do it in Angular. It's nuts.
Yes.
Um, and the very obvious description of a library is React because it does almost nothing. It's a rendering library, like when it comes down to it. And like you get this JSX thing that people either love or hate. I think it's neat. So like, yeah, if you want to do anything, you want to make requests, yeah, you use fetch. Or if you don't want to rely on the browser having fetch, you can use like some polyfill. But like, or you want to make GraphQL requests, you're going to use Apollo client, right? You want global state management, local state management, and like props passing. That's all built into React. But like, you want global state management, you're in Redux land, or you're in MobX land, or you're in what is it, state X state, whatever the cool kids are using now, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So the question proposed from Reddit was whether Vue is a library or a framework. And then
It was an
assertion. It was an assertion that it's a library.
It's a library.
Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how you got me roped into this useless, meaningless conversation. We were talking about something really interesting a little moment ago.
That's true. I had to ruin it with Reddit content, didn't I?
No, you didn't ruin it. I like that. I like that we're talking about stuff that you're interested in.
Okay.
Well, not that I'm not interested. Man, that came off really jerky. I'm not a jerk.
It really did.
I'm sorry. But
my immediate knee-jerk reaction was like, okay. I'm not interested in this. I don't like this. It's shitty.
You know me. Hey, if you know that I make silly comments that sound inappropriate,
you have no idea what you're saying.
Innocent comments, and yeah, like I make comments that sound like a jerk when and that doesn't mean that your feelings don't matter. So I'm sorry.
Well, thanks. Please go on with telling me how Vue is or is not a library, because I'm really curious.
I'm gonna counter and say that React is a framework at this point. Actually, I'm gonna throw you one out of left field. I think
that's way out of left field. How do you?
Yeah, I think Vue is a framework because it like follows certain patterns to do things, right? Okay. And I think React is a framework disguised as a library because so much of it, like you kind of have to pull in so much of the same stuff that it turns into a framework. Man, sorry, Domino is not liking my take today.
Someone's clearly trying to break into my house. Give me 1 second just to calm her.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. A doop a doop doop. It's just me here. Hopefully you all are interested. I'm gonna mess with my mic thing. Well, oh gosh, I'm so bad at this. What? Oh, I made it worse.
Yeah. Somebody delivered something. How dare they?
Okay, hold on. Because I paused the recording.
Okay.
Okay. So you're back.
Did you unpause the recording?
Well, now the magic's all gone.
Oh.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I don't know what's happening. So
yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
So I think React is a framework at this point because like no one uses React. I shouldn't say that. There's going to be someone that's going to be like, actually I do. But
actually,
most people don't use React just on its own, right? Most people use all of the same tools that come with React. And I understand that the difference between a library and a framework is how things are built in or opt-in. But I think to that the same applies to Vue then, right? And I think Vue is a framework that has features that it does for you and you follow some prescribed patterns. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's as close as, 6 inches one way, half a foot the other.
Half a foot. It's impressive. I don't have really like strong feelings about this, but I think that like the discussion is worthwhile because it has to do with the way that people perceive use, right? Like, oh,
I
you're a
don't think so.
Vue. Well, hang on.
I don't think so.
You're
Sorry, I'm cutting you off a lot this
you
show.
just
Sorry.
you. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're a Vue developer. You build things in Vue, whereas I think a React developer, like at least with React developers that I see on the internet and that I work with and all this, like we're very and I think you kind of brought this up a little bit. We're very particular about our full stack, like what we use for um, for a fetch library, how we do or do not pass state around, whether or not we use global state, whether we use xstate or mobx or redux. Like we're very tied to the entirety of the tooling that we use. Do we use create react app? Do we use our own boilerplate? Like, right? Like there's React at the core of all of it. And so I think the argument could be made, yeah, it's like it's a framework, but it's a very flexible framework in that you build all the rest of your tooling around it. Or I'm not sure Vue really behaves the same way. I know that there are libraries that you can use with Vue, but I think a lot more of the batteries are included. If I understand correctly, I might not.
So I wouldn't agree that all of the batteries are included. I think with Angular that's definitely the case. I think with Vue, the sort of like subtle difference or the nuance there is that with React, you're going to want a routing solution. You're going to want a state management solution. Most people are reaching for the same things for those, or among the same sort of things. You're probably going to want some HTTP solution unless you want to use fetch or whatever. And the same applies for Vue because Vue router, like routing, is not built into Vue. State
Oh,
management is
really?
not built into Vue. That's right.
They're
difference
just companion packages.
The difference is that they are companion packages and they're maintained by like the organization like that maintains the core library, right? So
Oh, okay.
so there is the Vue library, and then there's the Vue router library, and then there's the Vuex library, and then if you wanted to, I don't know, whatever other libraries you would want, right? And they kind
Okay.
of handle, but there is still some stuff that the core library does for you, for example, or framework or whatever does for you. For example, conditional rendering of template components or template parts, right? With React, you're going to go straight for a JavaScript solution by checking if something is truthy, and if so, then render this like JSX. And with Vue, you're going to use a built-in what they call directives.
A Vue if.
And you're going to say like v-if
Yeah.
this thing is truthy, then render this paragraph tag or whatever.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. What I think is really
you
interesting. So I think we came to a good point here, which is that whether it's a library or a framework, like that doesn't matter. They are whatever they are. They're the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. That's really interesting. Yeah.
And I think, and I don't agree that when people think of Vue developers, they think, oh, you know how to build using a framework, versus React developers like, oh, you know how to build using a library. It's like, no, I think that at least my approach is this person knows how to use Vue as a tool. This person knows how to use React as a tool. They're both front-end libraries or frameworks. So I assume that you know something about front-end web development. But that said, like I think Angular probably does the best job of having a very prescribed approach of doing things. And if you jump from one project to another, it's going to look more or less the same because Angular, like that is the prescribed approach. With Vue and React,
that is out the window.
It can get pretty loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said that's out the window. That's really interesting because what's funny is like we've looked for and like interviewed several Angular developers under the assumption that they would have TypeScript chops, right? Because this is where TypeScript comes from. This is why TypeScript exists. Thank you, Angular.
Not true, but
Okay. Tell 'em, does it not come from Microsoft, and was it not perpetuated in web development through Angular?
did Angular come from Microsoft?
That's a great question.
No.
But
Angular, yeah.
Angular is what like popularized TypeScript in web
Yes, but
development.
TypeScript was not made for Angular, was my point.
Okay. I didn't realize that they were not made. So Angular
No, I
comes
mean
from
Angular is Google. Angular was made by Google. TypeScript was made by Microsoft.
Well, now it's just silly how wrong I am, isn't it? My point being, my hope was to get some people with like TS chops, and
Yeah.
the number of people using Angular that just the TSC, the TS config is like do whatever you want is very, very high. Like people are not super
Yeah.
into TypeScript in Angular, and like that is the opposite of what I had assumed.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I've worked with some Angular devs that were like really hardcore TypeScript.
Oh, I'm sure there are some,
gurus.
just like the
They just don't want to
handful.
work for you.
That's right. Which is fine. Fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're not interested in switching over to React.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got, man. We're kind of getting close to time, so I don't really want to bring up any other new stuff.
Fine. You don't want to talk about my new puppy?
You have a puppy?
No.
Oh, that's disappointing.
But you didn't even ask if I had a new puppy.
Am I going to ask every time whether you have a new
Yes.
puppy on every show now?
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Nugget doesn't want a little friend. That's fine.
Cool. Well, that's the end of the content. I think we had a pretty good show. We kind of didn't know what we were going to talk about, and we talked about some really interesting stuff.
Yeah, man.
So,
Vite.
Dolce Vite.
Yeah.
You got anything interesting you want to give a shout out to at the end of this episode?
My shout out is to shotgun seats. So
like calling shotgun for the car?
No. So there's this like New Zealand, I think, company that made this child seat that fits on like you can put it on your bike, and it's a seat. It goes in front of your seat, and so your like little 2 to 5-year-old can sit in front of you, hanging onto the handlebars, and their like feet are kind of strapped in. Dude, it's the greatest thing. I took Logan on his first bike ride ever yesterday, and he loved it. He's super excited about it, and it makes me very happy to see him excited about anything. So it is now the greatest invention of all time, because he loves it. So yes, the
really
shotgun
cute.
child seat.
Whatever makes your child happy is the greatest invention of all time. That's sweet. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to send me a video when you guys start doing like backflips or whatever.
Oh, dude, like I see dads on like the mountain bike forums doing stuff like going on jumps with their kids on the like I'm not going to shame anybody, but I'm never doing that. Like that is a level of not okay. I have feelings about that. But yeah, man, I'll shoot you a little video of like me rolling around with the little dude.
Sounds good. I have a super cool pick that I want to shout out. So there, I had a friend share an app with me called Seek, and what it is, it's basically real life Pokemon Go. So check this out. Check this out. You download this app and you can walk around anywhere. I mean, I guess anywhere in a natural environment, and you can take pictures or like have like a camera view of this nature, and it will tell you what the thing is that you're looking at. And here's the really cool thing. It works offline. It's got some machine learning models that identify as plants and animals for you. And then you can take like pictures of them and you can capture it's so it's not Pokemon necessarily, but it's like a Pokédex. It turns your phone into a Pokédex for reality. It makes walking so much more interesting.
You're
Although it also
describing a
takes,
camera.
but a camera doesn't tell you what it is.
Can't you do like a reverse image search on Google?
Well, yeah, but you have it right there on your phone as you're walking around. Like you take the picture and it's right there telling you this is like I took a picture of Nugget and it was like this is the greatest creature that's ever existed. And it was accurate. No, but it was like domesticated dog or something like that. And then we took pictures of some other plants, some things that we thought were weeds in our front yard. Turns out they're edible. We're growing salad, baby.
Of course. You're gonna eat the weeds.
Yeah.
Are they like the
maybe.
dandelion type of weed?
Yeah, they're like relatives to dandelions.
Okay. Yeah,
They're
man.
edible,
Like
dude.
you can eat most plants.
We could live off that for like, I don't know, a couple of days.
I worry about you. Are you getting enough nutrition?
Yeah, man, I got weeds.
So like there's this thing growing out of my driveway. Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah. So shout out to that. Shout out to those developers that made it. It's a super. I think it's by I don't know, iNaturalist. It's got the National Geographic logo on it too. So
Oh, it's got to be good then.
I
100%.
think, dude, it's actually really good quality, and it's got the gamification thing. So as you get like more classifications or identifications under your belt, you get little badges. You become a biologist, and then a naturalist.
Ooh, maybe
It's cool.
so I'm gonna get it. So
Dude,
there's these
take it out and love
trees. There's these trees that I've been seeing that I really want to identify. They bloom with like these little yellow flowers that straight up looks like Bob Ross just took his happy little paintbrush and dabbed across these trees. Dude, the trees are so pretty and they're blooming right now. And I pointed them and I asked people, literally random people that don't know who I am, like, do you know what kind of tree that is? They
They don't.
know.
Seek, have I got the app for you?
Okay. Seek.
All right. That's the end of the show. Thanks, Grant,
For sure. Thank
always
you.
making it a pleasure. Always making time for me.
I do that.
Yeah. And thank you, dear listener. Please let us know how you like the show. Let your friends know how you like the show. Like and subscribe, all the things. Share it. Follow us, thefncall.com. Until next time, see ya.
Later.